Genius, get onto my show. I see this enterprise that you and Covey have as being so successful, and you make such great music, and obviously it's financially, from my point of view, tremendously successful. I mean, I don't know many opera singers that live in multi-million-dollar houses and work in multi-million-dollar studios. So as far as music goes, you guys are like very successful. But is that enough? Do you still feel that ennui or that melancholy about some other dream that you had?
No, because that's I think part of it too is like I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be a guitar player.
Yeah.
So I get to do all of that.
Yeah.
So I've achieved that. I don't want that to sound weird. I've achieved this part, which is like in the acceptable square of like, that's what I wanted to do, and I'm doing that. That's fantastic.
In the linear way of thinking about it.
Yeah. And then it's like, but where do you find the happiness on it? And I guess, and that comes here and there in little blocks of where like, oh, I'm very happy. Like certainly when I finish a piece of music, I'm very happy. And
there's no sadness about letting it go?
I'm none.
Okay.
No, I often will forget like I'll hear something and be like, that's pretty cool. And Colin, one of our partners, will be like, oh yeah, that's yours thing. I'm like,
oh, I'm good.
Yeah, that's nice. And then conversely, like we'll finish something and I'll be like, I'm terrible. I'm the worst. And it goes up and down. It could go half a day, like 6 hours. It'd be like, I'm a genius. And then the other, I'm like, I do not know what I'm doing. This is the worst thing I've ever heard.
So maybe that's where you and Cave really help each other, because I've always seen Cave as being so like pragmatic, right? He's
very consistent,
so business minded, and very he partitions his emotion from the business, it seems like. And maybe because I think you and I are more alike in our volatility. I feel like I can go from being like super happy to just being miserable within just a split second.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe that's like a big.
I have constant like even just in daily life, I keep waiting for the Mad Max Road Warrior scenario to happen. I'm like, any minute now.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in Mad Max.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be teaching my kids archery.
Exactly.
And sword fighting and things like
that. Where does that come from? What was that? Does that come from your folks?
Probably my dad grew up really poor in Utah.
Yeah.
And my mom was she grew up in New York.
Yeah.
But she never said, she's like, I didn't know we were poor. My mom's Puerto Rican and grew up in the Bronx. And it was like, they didn't really have money, but she said we ate.
And you had a happy childhood?
I had a great childhood.
Your folks got along? They weren't pulling the rug out from under you emotionally?
Super
so
great.
So where does that paranoia come from? Or those
I
worries?
think there was always that, like, you should get a city job because it's consistent. Because my dad knew what it was like to be like, I mean, he was a fireman for ages and he supported himself. And I think his perspective was like, do not take risks. It's not worth it. Do something consistent. Stay at a low level burn.
Yeah.
And I was a kid that listened to my parents. And I was like, so taking risks is terribly scary for me.
Yeah.
Even
now.
Oh, yeah. Any risk whatsoever is very scary for me.
And you see Cave as being a little bit different that way?
Oh, he's totally. But it's great because I have this guy. I'm like, oh, okay. I can do this and I can do that. And because I have a lot more to lose now with my, I have a family and stuff. But that's like, I always think like I'd be perfectly happy in a teepee by a river with an acoustic guitar. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
As long as everyone's safe and happy and we're cool there.
Do you have a control thing at all? Like, do you ever look at this business and think, oh, everything's just spinning out of control? This is too big, or?
Yeah. I mean, but it's with everything. I kind of like with everything.
Yeah.
But I have found like, I've been trying to meditate and that helps.
Man. Yeah, me too.
It's hard.
It is hard. What's funny is that I was just I told you before we started that I was in Mexico for a few days We went with our dear friend's mutual friend that you know, Eric Whitaker, and he kind of turned me on to meditation, and we were talking about, and this may be a personality thing that you and I share too, how I very often don't feel great, like emotionally or psychologically. And at the same time, I know the things that make me feel better. Like I know for sure, without a doubt, exercise makes me feel better. Eating well makes me feel better. Meditating makes me feel a lot better. And I don't do any of it.
I know that feeling.
And then
sleep, getting like 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, man, I'll stay up till 2.
Yep.
And I'm not doing anything important, frankly. Just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Watching YouTube videos or something just totally asinine. And so I have to, I'm 46 years old, and I have to say to myself, is that just who I am? Is it, and why is that? Like, and then not doing those things makes me feel even worse, because not only do I know what makes me feel better, I know that not doing them makes me feel worse, and choosing that makes me feel bad about myself on top of it.
I feel, and I wonder, like, does everyone feel that way?
The same with me.
Where is is anyone else happy, or are we all kind of just in a getting through? But I think, like, my wife generally is pretty happy.
Yeah, isn't it infuriating?
Thank God. And she, all the time, I'll be like, hands on my head, like, oh, this is the end. Yeah. And she'll be like, it's not the end. You just take a deep breath. And I'm like, oh, thank
My wife's the same way. Yeah. I have a general, and this sounds really bad, but I feel like I have and I don't want it to be true, but then I look in the mirror and I think, I honestly have a general distrust of people who are too happy. It's like, what? You must go home and kick the cat or something.